In this video I will explain how to use the Export Detail Report. But first, who uses the tool and why? Technical Reference can update their ongoing purchase needs and use it to follow up the assumptions they've made. Supply Management can review the purchases for goods per place of payment, and the finance team use it during the BMR process to analyse expenses versus the forecast and to understand the detailed content of a budget per account code, so they can write the comments in the Recap tab to present to the operation. It is also necessary for the cash request preparation, which is done at coordination level. You can access the Export Details file by clicking on the button at the top left of the Recap Nature or the Recap Analytic tabs in the Finance matrix. By line, this file contains all detailed expenses for a specific period, what expenses were planned in the matrices, and the actual expenses encoded in the accounting system for the part of the period that's already passed. The source of each line can be found in column C. For example, I can select FinPrem and show just the costs that were planned within the Premises tab of the Finance matrix. By column, you can see all the information used when making the forecasts. For example, column J for the place of payment, column AH for the vehicle type. You can use the filters and the plus and minus icons to hide and open up columns. This can be useful for your own analysis or to simplify the view when using the file with a technical referent. If we filter based on actual accounting data, here from the Saga system, you'll notice that some columns stay empty, such as the place of payment or the budget referent. That's because we don't encode this data in the accounting system. There's a series of columns that are initially hidden between T and AE. These are the costs per month in Swiss francs, our reference currency, and then there's another set of columns between AJ and AU, which are the same monthly amounts, but in currency. The currencies of these forecasts can be found in column R. When using filters, the first line of the forecast is updated. So if I were to filter by the logistics technical referent, then he can see the total monthly amount in line 1 and a total of 123,205 Swiss francs for the forecast period from April to December. As an admin, I must update the matrices when changing from one month to the next. Here we're at the end of March, with April being the new first month of forecast. I can see in the Log tab that I have a repartition error. We were supposed to buy material for latrine rehabilitation in March. I can check in the Export Detail Report if it was actually paid. I'm going to check in account code 61010. There is no expense in the accounting lines for this account code. I can also check in the account code 61000 just in case there's been data encoding error, but I can see that that code doesn't exist in the report. I will then ask the logistician during our monthly meeting if the latrine's rehabilitation is still planned, and when for, as nothing has been paid yet. Let's now look at how to use the report when updating comments in the Recap Nature tab. Looking at the trend of fuel consumption and forecasts on code 61200, in the matrix I can see the monthly actuals are much lower than the monthly forecasts. I can look at the Export Details report to better understand what is behind these amounts. We'll filter on the code 61200. I can see the actual figures from January to March as per my Recap Nature report, and now I can understand better where the figures per month are coming from and what they relate to. I can ask the log whether the forecasts are realistic. Perhaps there's an increase in activity or price rise, or perhaps the forecasts can be reduced and the budget liberated for other activities, either for the logistics ones or for another department according to the needs. The variation column, AW, can be really useful for technical reference. For example, as a logistician, I can work on this file to update my forecasts. I filter on LTL as the budget referent, and I can update the monthly average consumption of vehicles B and C on line 30. I'll change it from 3,780 to 2,500 per month. The consequences of this change between the initial forecast and the correction appears in column AW. The column AX is used to write comments and capture the reasons behind the changes. Let's take another example. In line 55, I would like to extend the contract of a guard for 2 months. I add the salary for 2 more months, and again in column AW I see the financial impact of my change. So in the comments we can put guard contract extension 2 months, June and July. Then when it's time to discuss the BMR with the admin, I can focus on the changes to the forecast by filtering on column AX and removing the blanks. I can see the overall impact of my changes in cell AW1. Based on that discussion and the file, the admin is then able to update the forecast directly in the matrix for the next BMR, and also able to update the comments in the budget recap